The cargo ship Lucky Star moved slowly through space toward Nexus Station. Captain Tae-ho sat in his old chair on the bridge, looking at the small space station ahead. It was not much to look at. The metal walls had rust spots, and some of the lights were broken. But it was the only place to get fuel for many days in any direction. "Captain, we could skip this stop," said his engineer, Min-ho. He was young and always worried about money. "The fuel prices here are too high. And that alien station master always takes forever." Tae-ho shook his head. "We need fuel, and Junsik is not so bad. He tries his best." The captain had been coming to this station for 3 years. He knew the Valari who ran it was doing his best with old equipment and not much help. The Lucky Star docked with a loud clang. The station's docking system was old and made too much noise. Tae-ho walked through the airlock into the station. The air smelled different here. It was the smell of the Valari people, like warm rocks after rain. Junsik was waiting for them. He was tall and thin, with green-brown skin that looked like tree bark. His big yellow eyes always seemed worried. "Captain Tae-ho," he said in his broken human language. "Welcome back to Nexus Station. You need fuel, yes?" "Yes, the usual amount," Tae-ho said. He liked Junsik. The alien worked hard and was always honest about prices. Many other station masters tried to cheat human traders, but not Junsik. But today, something was wrong. Junsik's hands shook as he worked on his computer. His yellow eyes looked red, like he had been crying. Valari did not cry like humans. But Tae-ho could tell when someone was upset. "Is everything okay?" Tae-ho asked. Junsik stopped typing and looked down. "My daughter. She is very sick. The medical equipment here is too old. It cannot help her." His voice was quiet and sad. Tae-ho had met Junsik's daughter before. Her name was Hana, which meant flower in human language. Junsik had given her a human name because he hoped humans and Valari could be friends. She was young, maybe 10, years old in human time. She always smiled when she saw human visitors. "What is wrong with her?" Tae-ho asked. "Her blood is sick. A genetic problem from when our sun hurt our world many years ago. She needs special treatment that only big hospitals have. But the nearest one is..." Junsik made a gesture with his hands. "Very far. Very expensive." Tae-ho felt his heart get heavy. He knew about the Valari's sad history. Their sun had gotten sick 50 years ago, shooting out dangerous light that hurt their world. Most of their people died. The ones who lived had to leave their home planet. They were scattered across the galaxy now, trying to rebuild their lives. "How long does she have?" Tae-ho asked. "Maybe 5 days? Maybe less." Junsik's voice broke. "I have sent messages asking for help, but no one answers. We are just refugees. No one cares about us." Tae-ho thought about his own daughter back on Earth. She was safe and healthy, going to good schools, eating good food. What would he do if she was sick and he could not help her? "Where is the nearest hospital that can treat her?" he asked. "The Galactic Medical Hub at Kepler Station. But that is 2 weeks away, even with a fast ship. And the treatment costs more money than I will make in my whole life." Tae-ho knew Kepler Station. It was in the opposite direction from where he was going. If he took Hana there, he would be 2 weeks late with his cargo. The companies that hired him would cancel their contracts. They would make him pay penalties. He would lose his ship. But if he did not help, a child would die. Min-ho came over to them. "Captain, the fuel is loaded. We should go. We have deadlines to meet." Tae-ho looked at Min-ho, then at Junsik. The Valari was trying not to cry. His daughter was dying and no one would help. "Minho, get the ship ready for a course change," Taeho said. "What?" "Captain, we cannot be late. The penalty fees will ruin us." "Get Hana ready to travel," Taeho told Jun-sik. "We are taking her to Kepler Station." Jun-sik's eyes went wide. "Captain, I cannot pay you. I have no money." "I am not asking for money," Taeho said. "Just get her ready." Minho grabbed Taeho's arm. "Captain, think about what you are doing. If we are late, we lose everything. The bank will take the ship. We will have nothing." Taeho looked at his young engineer. Minho was a good man, but he did not understand yet. "Some things are more important than money," Taeho said. "If we can save a life and we choose not to, what kind of people are we?" "But Captain, no more talk. Help them get the girl on the ship." An hour later, Hana was lying in the ship's small medical bay. She was so thin and weak. Her green skin had turned gray, and she could barely keep her eyes open. But when she saw Taeho, she tried to smile. "Thank you," she whispered in perfect human language. "Rest now," Taeho said. "We will get you help." The Lucky Star left Nexus Station and headed for Kepler Station. It would take 14 days at maximum speed. Every day, Hana got a little weaker. Taeho sat with her often, telling her stories about Earth and other worlds he had visited. When they reached Kepler Station, Taeho used all his savings to pay for Hana's treatment. The doctors worked for 3 days. Finally, they said she would live. The genetic problem was fixed. Jun-sik cried when he heard the news. In the Valari way, he put his hand on his heart and then on Taeho's heart. "I will never forget," he said. "My people will never forget." But when Taeho got back to his regular route, the companies had already found other ships. His contracts were canceled. The bank took the Lucky Star because he could not make his payments. Minho found work on another ship, but Taeho was too old to be hired as a captain again. He ended up working small jobs on different stations, fixing things, loading cargo, cleaning. It was hard work for little pay. But every night when he went to sleep, he thought about Hana's smile when the doctors said she would live. Some things were worth more than money. Some choices were right even when they cost everything. 50 years had passed since Taeho saved the little Valari girl. The old human was now working on Mining Station 7, a dark place far from any star. His job was to fix broken machines and clean dirty floors. His back hurt all the time, and his hands were rough from years of hard work. Most people on the station did not even know his name. They just called him the Old Maintenance Man. Taeho did not mind. He had learned to be happy with simple things: a hot meal, a warm bed. The fact that somewhere in the galaxy, a young girl had grown up healthy because of what he did. He never heard from Jun-sik again. The Valari station master had sent him messages for a few years after the rescue, but then they stopped coming. Taeho figured Jun-sik had probably died. Valari did not live as long as humans. And Hana? She would be an adult now, probably with her own family. Maybe she did not even remember the old human captain who had saved her life. But Taeho was wrong. Very wrong. Dr. Hana Veltar was now the most famous scientist among the Valari people. She worked in a big research center on New Valaris, the planet her people had built to replace their lost homeworld. Every day she studied different species from across the galaxy. But there was one species she studied more than all others: humans. Hana had never forgotten Captain Taeho. How could she? He had given up everything to save her life. As she grew up, she learned more about what his choice had cost him. He lost his ship, his job, his future, all for a sick alien child he barely knew. This puzzled her. Most species in the galaxy only help their own kind, and only when they got something back. But humans were different. They helped others even when it hurt them, even when they got nothing in return, even when the people they helped were completely different from them. Hana decided to study this strange human behavior. She read every report about humans she could find. She talked to aliens who had met humans. She even learned to speak perfect human language, not just the broken words her father had known. What she discovered amazed her. There was a human doctor on Rigel 3 who had treated a plague that was killing the insect people there. The doctor worked for months without sleep, and when it was over, she did not ask for payment. She just said, "Everyone deserves to live." There was a human engineer who had fixed the broken water systems on Aquarius Prime. The fish people there could not breathe without their water cities. The engineer worked in dangerous conditions and almost died 3 times. When they offered to pay him, he said, "Just keep swimming." There was a human teacher who had spent 10 years helping the crystal beings of silica learn to communicate with other species. She could have made more money teaching human children, but she stayed because learning should be for everyone. Story after story, all the same pattern. Humans helping others, humans sacrificing for strangers, humans doing good things just because they were good things to do. Hana started to wonder if this was just coincidence. Maybe she was only hearing about the unusual humans. But then she did something no one had ever done before. She studied human brain patterns. What she found shocked the scientific community. Humans had a special part in their brains that other species did not have. When they saw someone suffering, even a stranger, even an alien, this part of their brain became active. It made them feel the other person's pain as if it was their own pain. It made them want to help, even when helping would cost them. Most aliens thought this was a weakness. Why would you feel pain that was not yours? Why would you help someone who could not help you back? But Hana realized it was the opposite of weakness. It was the greatest strength in the galaxy. She wrote papers about her discovery. She gave speeches. She tried to tell other species that humans were special. But most aliens did not listen. They thought humans were just young and foolish. They would learn to be more selfish as they grew older as a species. Then something happened. That made Hana very afraid. The hegemony was growing stronger. This was a group of powerful alien species that ruled through fear and strength. They had the best weapons, the biggest ships, the most advanced technology. They were expanding across the galaxy, taking over weaker species. Hana heard rumors that the hegemony was planning to attack human space. But it was not just about conquering human worlds. The hegemony leaders had been studying humans too. They had noticed the same thing Hana had noticed. Humans made other species behave differently, more cooperative, more willing to help each other, more willing to stand up against bullies. This scared the hegemony. Their power was based on making species fight each other instead of working together. If human influence spread, their empire would fall apart. So they decided to destroy humanity before this could happen. Hana knew she had to do something. But what could one Valari scientist do against the most powerful empire in the galaxy? Then she remembered her father's words, spoken so many years ago. "My people will never forget." That gave her an idea. A crazy, impossible idea. But maybe, just maybe, it could work. Hana started to make a list. Every alien who had ever been helped by a human. every species that had benefited from human kindness, every individual who owed their life, their freedom, or their happiness to human generosity. The list was longer than she had expected, much longer. She found the medical records from the Rigel plague. 12 million insect people were alive because of one human doctor. She tracked down the families on Aquarius Prime. 3 underwater cities existed because of one human engineer. She contacted the students of the human teacher on Silica. They had become leaders who changed their whole society, and this was just the beginning. Humans had been helping aliens for over 200 years. They had saved species from extinction, stopped wars, shared technology freely, and treated alien refugees like family. Hana started sending secret messages to all these people. She reminded them of what humans had done for them. She told them that humans were in danger. She asked them a simple question. Do you remember? The answers that came back surprised even her. Not only did they remember, but many had been waiting their whole lives for a chance to repay their debt to humanity. An old insect leader on Rigel wrote, Dr. Sarah Martinez saved my entire hive. If humans need help, we will give our lives. Hatobike. Fish people of Aquarius sent, Human engineer Kim fixed our world. We will fix this problem. The crystal beings of Silica replied, Teacher Johnson taught us that learning means sharing. We share our strength with humans now. Message after message, species after species, all remembering, all ready to help. Hana's assistant, a young Valari, named Kyung-ho, looked at the growing list with amazement. Doctor, do you realize what this is? This is not just a list of grateful aliens. This is an army. Hana nodded. An army that owes its existence to human kindness. An army that the hegemony does not know about. She thought about Captain Tae-ho, the old human who had saved her life and then disappeared into the galaxy. He probably thought his sacrifice had been forgotten. He probably thought it had not mattered in the big picture. But he was wrong. So very wrong. His kindness had started. Something that would change everything. Dr. Hana's secret project grew bigger every day. In her hidden laboratory on New Valaris, she and Kyung-ho worked around the clock. They had created a network they called the Remembered. It included hundreds of alien species and thousands of individuals who had been helped by humans over the years. But they had to be very careful. The hegemony had spies everywhere. If they found out what Hana was doing, they would attack immediately. So all messages were sent in secret codes. All. Meetings happened in hidden places. Kyung-ho had become very good at finding these stories of human kindness. Each day he brought Hana new files. Look at this one, he said, showing her a report. 20 years ago, human traders found a broken colony ship full of Zephyrian families. The ship was dying and the families would have frozen to death in space. The humans gave them food, fixed their ship, and guided them to a safe planet. They never asked for payment. Hana read the file. How many Zephyrians were saved? 50,000. And Doctor, the Zephyrians still remember. Their leader wants to know how they can help humans. Another file showed human soldiers who had protected alien civilians during a war that was not their fight. The aliens were weak plant people who could not defend themselves. The humans could have left and been safe. Instead, they stayed and fought. Many humans died protecting people they had never met before. The plant people want to repay this debt, Kyung-ho said. They may look weak, but their planet makes the best medicines in the galaxy. They are offering to share everything with humans. The stories kept coming. Humans who had shared water with thirsty desert people. Humans who had taught farming to hungry refugees. Humans who had risked their lives to save alien children from disasters. Humans who had given their own food to starving prisoners of war. Each story was the same. Humans helping others, even when it cost them. Even when they got nothing back. Even when it put them in danger. "Kyung-ho," Hana said one day, "I think I understand something important. Humans do not just practice kindness, they inspire it in others." "What do you mean, Doctor?" Hana showed him brain scans she had been studying. "Look at these. When other species spend time around humans, their brain patterns change. They become more cooperative, more willing to help others, more brave when fighting for good causes." Kyung-ho studied the scans. "Are you saying humans can change how other people think?" "Not on purpose. They do not even know they do it. But yes, human kindness spreads like a virus. But instead of making you sick, it makes you better." This discovery explained so much. It explained why the hegemony was afraid of humans. It explained why colonies with human populations were more peaceful and more successful. It explained why the galaxy was becoming a better place wherever humans went. This is why the hegemony wants to destroy them, Hana realized. They know that human influence will eventually make their empire impossible to maintain. The hegemony, ruled by making species fear and hate each other, but humans made species trust and help each other. These two things could not exist in the same galaxy. Hana decided it was time to contact human leaders directly. She sent a secret message to Commander So Young of the Human Defense Force. The message was simple. "We remember your kindness. We want to help." So Young was confused when she received the message. She had never heard of Dr. Hana or the Remembered. At first, she thought it might be a hegemony trick. But then Hana sent her a file. It contained thousands of records of human kindness toward aliens. Stories So Young had never heard before. Acts of heroism and generosity that had been forgotten by human history but remembered perfectly by those who had been helped. So Young called a meeting with her senior officers. "I have received a message from an alien scientist," she said. "She claims that hundreds of species want to help us fight the hegemony." Admiral Wu Jin, an old soldier with gray hair, shook his head. "Commander, this sounds too good to be true. Why would aliens want to help us? Most species barely tolerate humans." "That is what I thought too," So Young said. "But look at these files." She showed them Hana's records. Story after story of humans helping aliens. Most of the officers had never heard these stories before. Humans did not usually talk about their good deeds. They just did them and moved on. "My God," whispered Captain Dongwu. "I had no idea we had helped so many people." "And apparently they all remember," So Young said. "This Dr. Hana says they have been waiting for a chance to repay their debts." Admiral Wu Jin looked at the files more carefully. "Even if this is real, what could they do? The hegemony has the most powerful military in the galaxy." That was when Hana's next message arrived. It contained technical specifications that made the human officers gasp. "These are weapon designs," breathed Engineer Min-ho, who had grown old but was still sharp. "But they are unlike anything I have ever seen. It is like they took the best technology from dozens of species and combined it all together." That is exactly what they did, So Young realized. All these species that humans helped, they are sharing their knowledge freely. They are combining their technologies. The implications were staggering. The insect people of Rigel had incredible ship armor. The fish people of Aquarius had the best underwater stealth technology. The crystal beings of Silica could process information faster than any computer. The plant people could create medicines that healed any wound. Separately, none of these species could challenge the hegemony. But together, sharing their knowledge freely, they might be able to match the great empire's power. There is something else, So Young said. She showed them a personal message from Dr. Hana. It told the story of Captain Tai-Ho and the sick Valari, child he had saved 50 years ago. This all started with one act of kindness, So Young said quietly. One human captain who chose to save a child instead of protecting his profits. That child grew up to become Dr. Hana, and now she is trying to save us all. The officers sat in silence thinking about this. One good deed, rippling through time, growing into something that might save their entire species. "Where is Captain Tai-Ho now?" asked Admiral Wu Jin. So Young checked her files. According to records, he is working as a maintenance man on mining. Station 7. He lost everything when he saved the Valari child. He has been doing manual labor for decades. Then we owe him a great debt, too, Admiral Wu Jin said. His sacrifice made all of this possible. Dr. Hana's final message was an invitation. She wanted human leaders to come to a secret meeting. Representatives from all the remembered species would be there. They would plan how to defend humanity from the coming hegemony attack. But Hana had one special request. She wanted Captain Tai-Ho to be there, too. The old man who had started it all with one act of kindness should see what his choice had created. So Young smiled as she read this. Admiral, I think we should send a ship to Mining Station 7. We have someone to pick up. The network of grateful species was ready to repay their debts to humanity. But first, they wanted to honor the human who had shown them what true kindness looked like. Tai-Ho had no idea that his simple choice to save one sick child was about to change the fate of the entire galaxy. Tai-Ho was fixing a broken water pump when the official human ship arrived at Mining Station 7. He was surprised when station security told him that officers from the Human Defense Force wanted to see him. At 90 years old, he could not imagine what they might want with an old maintenance worker. Commander So Young found him in the repair bay, his hands dirty with grease, his hair white as snow. She had seen his picture in old files, but seeing him in person made her emotional. This simple man had unknowingly started something that might save humanity. Captain Tai-Ho? She said formally. Tai-Ho looked up from his work. I am not a captain. Any more, Commander? I am just Tai-Ho. What can I do for you? Sir, we need you to come with us. There are people who want to meet you. People who remember what you did 50 years ago. Tai-Ho was confused. I am sorry, but I do not understand. What did I do? You saved a Valari child named Hana. Do you remember? Tai-Ho's eyes went wide. Hana, is she alive? Is she well? More than well, sir. She has become one of the most important scientists in the galaxy, and she has something incredible to show. You. The trip to the secret meeting place took 3 days. Tai-Ho could not believe he was on a military ship again after so many years. The young crew members treated him with great respect, which puzzled him. He was just an old man who had made one good choice long ago. When they arrived at the hidden station in neutral space, Tai-Ho gasped. Ships surrounded them, hundreds of ships, thousands of ships, but they were not human ships. They came from species he had never seen before, in designs he could not recognize. What is this place? he asked Commander So Young. "This is the gathering of the remembered," she said. "Every ship here belongs to someone your species has helped." They docked and walked through the station corridors. Tejo saw aliens everywhere, insect people with shiny shells, fish people in water suits, crystal beings that sparkled like diamonds, plant people with green skin and leaves for hair. Hundreds of different species, all working together. And they all stopped what they were doing to look at him. "Why are they staring at me?" Tejo whispered. "Because you are famous, sir. Your story has spread through all their cultures. The human who gave up everything to save one alien child. They call you the first kindness." Dr. Hana was waiting for them in the main meeting room. Tejo had expected to see the sick little girl he remembered, but instead, he met a tall, confident woman who was clearly brilliant and successful. When she saw him, tears ran down her green cheeks. "Captain Tejo," she said in perfect human language. "I have waited 50 years to say thank you properly." Tejo was amazed. "Hana, you grew up. You learned to speak human language so well. I learned many things, including how rare and precious your gift to me was." She gestured to the room full of alien representatives. "These are all the people your species has helped over the years. We call ourselves the Remembered, and we are here to repay our debts." Admiral Wu Jin stepped forward. "Captain Tejo, Dr. Hana has assembled the largest alliance in galactic history, all because humans choose to help others, even when it costs them." Hana activated a holographic display. It showed star maps with thousands of marked systems. Every mark represents an act of human kindness. A species saved from extinction. A planet rescued from disaster. Children fed when they were hungry. Sick people healed when they were dying. Wars stopped before they could begin. Tejo stared at the display. There were so many marks, so many acts of kindness he had never heard of. "I had no idea." "Humans do not brag about their good deeds," Hana said. "You just do them and move on. But we remember. We all remember." Engineer Minho, now quite elderly but still sharp, approached Tejo with tears in his eyes. "Captain, I'm sorry I questioned your choice all those years ago. I thought we were losing everything. I did not know we were starting something this incredible." Tejo hugged his old friend. "You were not wrong to worry, Minho. We did lose everything we had, but maybe we found something better." Dr. Hana showed them the combined technologies of the Remembered. Weapons that could pierce any armor, developed by combining crystal processing power with insect metallurgy. Ships that could become invisible, using fish stealth technology improved by plant bioengineering. Shields that could heal themselves, created by mixing dozens of different scientific advances. "The hegemony thinks they are the most advanced civilization in the galaxy," Hana explained. "But they only use their own technology. They are too proud to learn from others. We have combined the best knowledge from hundreds of species. We are no longer weaker than them." But there was an even bigger surprise. The Remembered had not just built weapons. They had built a new way of living together. Species that had never met before were now working as partners. They were sharing resources, solving problems together, protecting each other's families. "This is what humans do," Hana told the assembled representatives. "You make everyone around you better. You inspire cooperation instead of competition, trust instead of fear, love instead of hate." An old insect leader clicked his mandibles in agreement. The hegemony rules by making us afraid of each other, but humans taught us that we are stronger when we help each other. A crystal being sparkled with joy. Human teachers showed us that knowledge belongs to everyone. The hegemony keeps knowledge secret to maintain power. We share everything freely. A plant person swayed gently. Humans saved our seedlings when they were dying. We learned that life is more important than profit. The hegemony sees everything as property to be owned. Tae-ho listened to speech after speech. Every species had a story. Every representative could name specific humans who had changed their lives. The pattern was always the same. Humans had helped not because they had to, but because they chose to. There is something else you need to know, Dr. Hana said privately to the human officers. We have discovered that humans actually change the brain chemistry of other species. Your kindness is literally contagious. The more time we spend with you, the more cooperative and generous we become. Admiral Wu Jin was amazed. Are you saying we turn other species into better versions of themselves? Exactly. And this is why the hegemony is so afraid of you. They know that human influence will eventually make their empire impossible to maintain. So they have decided to destroy you before you can change the galaxy. The hegemony fleet was already moving toward human space. Intelligence reports said they had assembled the largest attack force in their history. They planned to destroy Earth and every human colony in a single massive strike. But the remembered were ready. We have something the hegemony does not expect, Hana said with a smile. We have learned to fight like humans, not for conquest or glory, but to protect those who cannot protect themselves. Tae-ho looked around the room at all the alien faces. Young and old, big and small, from hundreds of different worlds, all united by human kindness, all ready to risk everything to save the species that had saved them. This is not possible, he whispered. One person cannot start something this big. One person did, Hana said gently. You did. Your choice to save one sick child taught the galaxy what humans really are. And now the galaxy chooses to save you. The old maintenance worker who had lost everything to help a stranger had become the inspiration for the greatest alliance in galactic history. The hegemony fleet arrived at Earth expecting an easy victory. They had come with 5,000 warships, the largest attack force in galactic history. Their plan was simple: destroy the human homeworld and all nearby colonies in one massive strike. End human influence before it could spread further. Admiral Zektor of the hegemony stood on his command ship, looking at the small blue planet ahead. Intelligence reports said humans had only a few hundred defense ships. This would be over quickly. Begin the attack, he ordered, but when his sensors activated, they showed something impossible. The space around Earth was full of ships, not hundreds, thousands. Ships from species the hegemony had never seen working together. Ships using technologies that should not exist. Admiral, his sensor officer reported with fear in his voice, we count over 8,000 vessels. They are from everywhere. Insect ships, crystal formations, plant biovessels, aquatic crafts. I do not understand how they are all here. Admiral Zektor was confused, but not worried. Numbers do not matter. Our ships are the most advanced in the galaxy. Begin bombardment. What happened next shocked everyone, including the humans. The Remembered did not just defend Earth. They surrounded the hegemony fleet completely. Ships appeared from all directions, using stealth technology the hegemony could not detect. Crystal beings calculated perfect battle positions faster than any computer. Insect ships moved in perfect formation, like a hive mind. Plant vessels grew, new weapons during the battle itself. But the biggest shock was how they fought. The hegemony was used to species fighting each other, even when they were supposedly allies. Competition, jealousy, and selfishness always made enemy alliances weak. The Remembered fought differently. They shared information instantly. They protected each other's ships without being asked. When one species' weapons failed, another species immediately provided backup. They fought like they were one people with many bodies. Fleet Admiral Yu-Jin watched from her human command ship with amazement. "I have never seen anything like this," she whispered to her officers. "They are fighting like humans would fight," and they were. 50 years of human influence had changed how all these species thought about war. They were not fighting for glory or conquest. They were fighting to protect someone they cared about. They were fighting like a family defends its members. The battle lasted only 3 hours. The mighty hegemony fleet, which had conquered hundreds of worlds, was completely defeated. Some ships were destroyed, but most were simply surrounded and forced to surrender. Admiral Zector could not believe what had happened. "How?" he demanded when he was brought aboard the human command ship. "How did you turn so many species against us?" Admiral Yu-Jin looked at the defeated enemy commander. "We did not turn them against you. We just showed them there was a better way to live." But the real surprise came after the battle. The Remembered did not celebrate and leave. They stayed. Representatives from hundreds of species gathered on Earth to create something new. Dr. Hana stood before the Galactic Assembly with Taiho beside her. The old man still could not believe he was at the center of such important events. "Today we create the Confederation of the Remembered," Hana announced. "Not an empire built on fear, but a family built on kindness. Not subjects who must obey, but partners who choose to help each other." Species after species signed the agreement. They promised to share their knowledge freely, to protect each other's people, and to solve problems together instead of fighting over them. The crystal beings offered to process information for everyone. The insect people offered their engineering skills. The plant people offered their medical knowledge. The fish people offered their exploration expertise. Each species gave their greatest gifts to the common good, and at the center of it all were humans, not as rulers, but as teachers. They would travel throughout the galaxy, not to conquer worlds, but to show others how kindness could make everyone stronger. Taiho was given a special honor. The Confederation created a new law called the Taiho Doctrine. It stated that any act of kindness to any being created a debt that entire civilizations would honor. No good deed, no matter how small, would ever be forgotten. "I do not understand," Taiho said to Dr. Hana after the ceremony. "All I did was help one sick child. How did that become all of this?" Hana smiled. The same smile she had given him 50 years ago when she was dying. "You showed the galaxy something they had never seen before. A person who would sacrifice everything for a stranger. That changed how everyone thought about what was possible. But so many humans do things like that every day." "Exactly," Hana said. "That is why humans are so special. For other species, kindness is rare and surprising. For humans, it is just normal. You do not even realize how extraordinary you are." The Confederation grew quickly. Worlds that had been enemies for centuries became friends. Trade flourished because people trusted each other. Scientific advances came faster because knowledge was shared freely. Wars became rare because conflicts were solved through cooperation. Young. Humans were trained as kindness ambassadors. They traveled to worlds throughout the galaxy, not to rule or trade, but simply to help wherever help was needed. Each act of kindness created more friends for humanity and made the Confederation stronger. On Earth, children learned about Captain Tay-Ho in their history classes. They learned that the greatest force in the universe was not weapons or money, or power. It was choosing to help someone who needed help, even when it cost you everything. Tay-Ho lived to be 105 years old. He spent his final years traveling with Dr. Hana, visiting worlds he had never imagined. Everywhere they went, people knew his story. The maintenance worker who had saved a child and accidentally saved the galaxy. When he died peacefully in his sleep, the entire Confederation mourned. Every species sent representatives to his funeral. The ceremony was broadcast to billions of beings across thousands of worlds, but his legacy lived on. Every year, the Confederation celebrated Kindness Day on the anniversary of when Tay-Ho had saved young Hana. On that day, people throughout the galaxy were encouraged to help someone they did not know, expecting nothing in return. And every act of kindness was recorded and remembered. Because the galaxy had learned the most important lesson humans could teach. Every kindness matters, every good deed spreads like ripples in a pond, and love is stronger than fear. Dr. Hana, now very old herself, would often visit Earth to speak to human children. She would tell them about Captain Tay-Ho and end her speech the same way every time. Never think that one person cannot change the galaxy. One human already did. His name was Tay-Ho, and he chose kindness when it would have been easier to choose profit. That choice saved my life, inspired a civilization, and created the peaceful galaxy you live in today. So remember, every kindness is remembered, and you never know how far the ripples will spread. The next time you choose to help someone, you might be starting something that will change the universe. The children would listen with wide eyes, dreaming of their own chances to make the galaxy better through simple kindness. And the cycle would begin again, as it had been beginning for humans for thousands of years, because that is what humans do. They help others, expecting nothing back, and accidentally make everything better for everyone. Some things never change, and the galaxy is grateful for that.